Traditional sweet recipes from Malta, available online at www.traditionalmaltesweets.com. Traditional sweet recipes, creating a small slice of Malta that feels like home.
Merħba lura fil-programm u fl-intervista li jmiss il-kollega tiegħi Mark Avellino ser jitkellem mal-pittur rinomat Paul Borg.
Most of the things I do is basically paint portraits and landscape in oils to do with the western suburbs, basically, or people from the suburbs. Most of them are my family members, most of the time. And I got into art basically from when I was in high school, and I failed high school. I knew that I wanted to be an artist or do art, and I accidentally fell into an art course, looking into courses, and I thought that's what I want to do. And I applied to an art course and ended up doing that, and then the rest was, it started from that point basically. That's how I got into it.
With having a Maltese surname and Maltese parents, did you find that your parents understood your journey into the arts?
Good one, good question. Not really. I think they just basically, most Maltese parents wanted is to get a job, is to leave school and get a job. And when I was going to go to university, I went to study, it was like, and Dad was very quiet, doesn't say much, but they just let me do my thing though, and then it was up to me to decide what I was going to do, which was great, so they gave us that freedom. But yeah, I think every day they're probably thinking, is he going to get a job or not, or is he...
Yes, are you going to get a real job?
Yeah, I can get a real job. But over the time, they realised that's who I am. I'm an artist, that's it, and I've just got to keep pursuing it, so yeah.
When I was looking at your work online, it's actually really great to see it here in person. You've got the urban environment, you've got a very good connection with people. Mm-hmm. How have you brought in your kind of like background into any of this work? Like as far as your family background and your cultural background, has that got an influence there?
It has a bit. I didn't see it till one of my art history lecturers from art school pointed out many years after art school that a lot of the light and the compositions I have and the depth is very European in its approach. And all I was just doing is just painting what's around me, but it's just the way I was placing things down into the actual composition had that bit of a European thing. And I was also doing paintings where I actually cut things in half and stuck them onto the canvas and paint around it. And then I went on to Malta for the first time because I was born here. I saw religious paintings in churches, and I had half a crown on a Madonna stuck onto the canvas and other things. I thought, oh gosh, that's what I do in my work. So I sort of started to think, okay, is that our way of making things inherited from our culture?
Do you think that having your roots firmly set in the suburbs and in the environment around you as your influence is what helps to bring that out?
Yeah, definitely. What I realise I do is that when I paint a portrait of my father or my mother or even myself or my family, I'm not, in time people might know who they really are. But what I want to do is create a painting that down the track, even now, people say, oh, that's like my mum, that's like my father, and the daughter's like my daughter, all those sorts of things. That to me is important. So I'm, in a sense, documenting the people of our suburbs, and the only way to document is to actually live their life, be in their lives and observe them every day. I'm sure they're probably thinking, what's he doing now? Because I'll go to mum's place for dinner, sometimes I've got a bit of paper on my drawer. I say to Dad, can you sit there for a second? I'll just take a quick photo. And he's thinking, okay, what is he doing now? So yeah, it's important to be in that environment for me, because I've had chances where I can just go live somewhere else in Melbourne or go and live overseas. But I've made the choice to stay here because that's my subject matter.
Paul, when I know that you've been a finalist in the Doug Moran Prize quite a number of times.
Yep.
How many was it?
7 times.
7 times, which is
semi-finalist, 4 times finalist. Yeah.
A massive achievement.
Yep.
For those people in our audience that don't know, the Doug Moran Prize is one of the premier art prizes in Australia. To be nominated for that is such a massive achievement. When you got your first nomination, what was the how did you feel?
Fantastic, because I think I applied about 3 times before that, didn't get in, and then I did Dad's portrait sitting there with his cage, bird cage and so on, and it got selected. I had to take a deep breath and think, hang on, is that right? Did I get in? And it was amazing. And then it came to Melbourne, which it hasn't been in Melbourne for a while, but it was shown at the National Gallery in Melbourne, so that was also impressive because the show was shown there. So I was really taken. I thought, oh, okay, the work is worth something if people are taking some notice. So yeah, I was really chuffed. Not Dad was, but he's very quiet. He won't say much, but I'm sure he was.
Your work is featuring in the collection National Gallery in Victoria, Art Gallery of Ballarat.
Yep.
There's some private collections that you're involved in, and you've also been commissioned by some local government.
Yep.
When you approach a commission, is that different to when you're approaching your own work?
Yeah, when you're doing your own work, you're just focusing on what you're interested in. With commissions, I'll sit there with the people though and try and actually get them to understand what I'm doing in my work and to somehow put it in their work that they're commissioning. So I'm not, there's no way I'll do things like copy from photographs or anything like that. If they want to do a portrait of someone they want or they love or their mum or dad, I'll try and put something about their life in their work. Things like that. So at the end of the line, they've got a work that's by Paul Borg, not just a copy from a photograph, but something that has something of mine in there. And also, it's work that's mine that's out there, so I'm going to make sure it has something for longevity that actually, in terms of investments, all that stuff, it's something that they can say, oh, well, I've got one of his paintings that might be worth something.
Yeah. One of the things I really loved, and then walking into the studio today, it actually brought it home a lot more, was really seeing the self-portraits.
Yep.
and seeing how hard it must be to actually paint yourself almost like you're I guess not you,
Yep.
but yet you're painting yourself. So how do you go through the process of actually doing a portrait of yourself within your same context of the work you do?
Okay.
Yeah.
Painting the portrait is hard. It's the most hardest thing because the hardest portrait to do is yourself and the people most closest to you because you have already an opinion about them. So what I try to do is, as I was taught, is just paint from life. Never use the photograph, just work from life, from the mirror and so on, and just paint what you see, and then the truth should come out. I did about, I think one time I did about five self-portraits, and there's one I thought, yeah, that's me. And everyone else thought, oh, no, it doesn't. That one over there does. And I thought, what is the portrait? And that's an interesting, doing the self-portrait is difficult because we have our own perception of what we look like. It's like when you grab a photograph of yourself and you say, oh, that's not me.
Yeah.
And same as painting a portrait, you have doubts whether it looks like you or not.
So, the life of an artist in Australia, and I think nearly in every country, you have to do other things to kind of keep sustaining it. You have to feed it, you have to sustain it. You run an art school as well, and with running that school, what do you think is the greatest thing you learn from having to teach?
I think, well, the one thing I'm learning is that there's so many people out there who just want to make art and learn art, and they've had to give it up. They have to not pursue it because of family, career, other jobs and so on. Because most of my students are mature age students, and they're in their 40s and older, and saying, well, I want to do this now. So to me that's interesting because they've been holding back. They've been holding back doing these things, and it makes me realise I'm glad I never did. I actually said when I was younger, I want to be an artist. I don't want to look back and say I could have done that, but I didn't. And so that sort of helps. So running the art school has given me that perspective. Also knowing that I can nurture art in this area and working with that, which is good.